Hello, welcome. If you are new, hopefully you've subscribed, even though you can get a channel membership without subscribing. Hopefully you subscribed and you thumb up the video, share everywhere, including your YouTube community tab. Let's go!
It's showtime.
Yes, you saw the title correctly. Julie got Jim killed. I'll explain it and break it down, all of that. So yeah, right now I currently have uploaded some new emojis for your emoji pleasure. New emojis. I put some down in the comment section right now. I see Owen Supreme. Not sure if you're still here, but Owen Supreme is in the house. Welcome, welcome, Owen Supreme and other channel members who may be watching in the clouds or watching on the replay. Salute, Owen Supreme and all channel members. Thank you for being a channel member. Thank you for the support. So yes, new emoji alert. New emoji alert. I added the cowboy creature. Did a better job with the Boyd emoji. Then also have the grandmother creature. Then I have the crazy Sarah, which is Sarah from season 1, the one that we're currently going over, and also Soldier Sarah, or the Sarah without a soul, which is season 3. And I'm going to be adding some more as we get more channel members. Hopefully you like them. I like them. Yeah, so yeah, behind me there is the hole for the faraway tree. We're going to be going far away. And with this theory, it basically is it described by Fatima and also Ethan, which is season 1, that it's kind of like it versus Jade and Tabitha, and that is the game. And the goal is for one side to complete the game, which I think that if it, or the evil side of, which is the entity in Fromville, that's what I believe anyway, that if it completes the game, it gets free from Fromville and can wreak havoc on our universe. If Jade and Tabitha complete the game, then that stops them from being reincarnated. They defeat the evil, and From will be released as far as the dome that traps people inside, and it'll be a regular town. So I think that's what's going on with Fromville. And there's a couple of ways to look at it as far as my belief that Julie got Jim killed, and we'll get to that. So first I'm gonna start off by saying that Miranda, she knew she was the chosen one before she went into Fromville, and that there were other chosen ones who failed. That's according to Henry, and that's what Henry told Tabitha when Tabitha first went to Henry's home. So we know that Tabitha, and maybe even Jade, knowing who they come from is not like a bad thing, because Miranda knew. And Christopher was told a lot of information, including going through the faraway tree to save the children. So Miranda and Christopher were given information, the same information that Tabitha and Jade acquired after playing the musical notes at the faraway tree. And the kid came out and said, "And cooey and cooey." So we know that them knowing who they come from is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. I think that the knowledge that came with the cost is Julie's chapter walking. I think it's Julie's chapter walking.
Uh-oh, stinky.
Because I don't believe that Julie's chapter walking is something that has been an ability in the past. Because when Boyd goes to visit Martin, or he meets Martin in the lair, Martin had worms. Martin came from the town. He said he had been there for years. Probably was there when Victor was there. So for Martin to have the worms would mean that the worms would have had to have been worms the whole time. And Julie didn't get the chapter walking ability till the worms became cicadas inside of the smiley creature, or coming out of the smiley creature rather. And when they went inside of Julie, she went to the lair, or at least her energy went to the lair. And after Boyd freed her by destroying and defeating the music box monster, Julie gained the ability to chapter walk. Maybe Sarah has that ability as well. Maybe Marielle and Randall have the ability. We don't know. Maybe we'll find out season 4. So I'm gonna play a video that lays out why I believe that Sarah may have the chapter walk ability in addition to Randall and Marielle. So to get through YouTube's copyright restrictions, I started making these videos where they're kind of like still pictures, and they have the sound behind them. I know a lot of people have been annoyed by that, but that's just how I do it to make sure that we don't have any copyright issues. And I know other creators, they haven't had that problem. They play the video and haven't had any issues. That's them. What we're doing is what we're doing, and it's going to be basically the best way possible as far as being able to watch a scene for reference without any copyright issues. All right, we got that out the way. Ready, set, go.
So how is this supposed to help?
When we were in the forest, you said a little boy in white told you to get into the tree.
Hold up. Let me do something so I can all right, that should make it easier. All right, let's do it. All right, now we're ready.
So how is this supposed to help?
When we were in the forest, you said a little boy in white told you to get into the tree. It's the same tree that put me in the goddamn chamber where all this started.
So,
Well, turns out Elgin had a dream about a little boy in white. Told him part of a nursery rhyme. The same one Paula kept repeating before she died. They touch, they break, they steal. No one here is free. Here they come for 3 unless you stop the melody. That make any sense to you?
no.
Anything else you can tell me about the little boy?
He was trying to help us.
Okay, so this random little kid running around magical forest doing good, popping up in people's dreams and...
I don't think he really was a little boy.
Hey, Sarah, listen up. Hey, this is it right now. When I told you there was a chance that you could still do some good, that you could help the people here. It's right now. Understand? Okay. It's right over there. All right. This is it. This whole thing was there was someone chained to a wall right here. Right here. Then there was a hole that went down 40, 50 feet, and I had... What's wrong?
I can hear it. The music. It's here.
All right, so Sarah can hear the music from the music box monster, equivalent to how Julie was able to hear the screaming from herself, Randall, and Marielle when Julie was inside. So, and this was season 3 I'm talking about as far as Julie. So Sarah can hear the music inside the lair. So Sarah has a connection to the lair, or at least demon radio, where she can hear these supernatural forces, and it's reasonable to believe that she could also possibly chapter walk, because she doesn't go into, I mean, she kind of, it kind of does appear that she's in the part where the lair is, but Julie went from the front and then walked in the middle and then had the seizure. Whereas Sarah, even though it kind of appears that she's inside, not really.
What are you talking about?
The music box. It's here.
Where?
Right there. It's here.
There's no music box here,
No,
sir.
there is.
This-
There is. I can hear it. I'm telling you.
What's wrong?
I can hear them screaming.
What?
She can hear them screaming. Now with Julie, I don't know if it's because she's weaker or stronger, but with Julie had the seizures, whereas Sarah, she's having a nosebleed.
There's something. There's something. It's here. It's hurting them.
Yeah, see, it may be that Sarah may be weaker than Julie, since Julie had the cicadas inside of her, but the nosebleed suggests that for her to be this close to the evil, this close to the voices and this energy, it's actually hurting her to where it's giving her a nosebleed.
Boy, what the fuck is going on? Hey, Sarah, talk to me.
Here they come. They come for 3. Yeah, it needs them. It needs them to stay. It needs them to.
Okay, we gotta get her out of here. Come on.
All right, it needs Marielle, Julie, and Randall to stay in because the music box monster is feeding off of them. When the worms were just worms, they were feeding off of illnesses and diseases and different negativity of the human body, which is how Boyd's Parkinson was kind of like cured. So the worms were feeding off of that. Whereas when the worms were mixed with the smiley creature, they became cicadas. And I believe that the worms and the music box monster are like 2 separate things, but like together. So in other words, the cicadas are a mixture of the worms, smiley creatures, bile, and the music box. All 3 together.
Kenny, come on. Yeah, go ahead. Come on, buddy. Let's up. There we go. Come on. Let's go. Let's go.
No.
Okay. All right.
It's laughing at you for bringing it back to town. For setting it free. It wants to.
All right. For bringing it back to town. For setting it free. So, based off of Sarah's dialogue that she's getting from the music box monster, the music box monster was actually a prisoner in the lair. So, we saw Martin chained up. And we'll see some Martin later on in this video that I have for presentation. But we saw Martin chained up. He was a prisoner, but it may have been that was the only way to imprison the worms and the music box monster. So the music box monster and the worms were prisoners along with Martin. Boyd freed it, brought it back to town. And we're going to hear Martin say that, we're going to hear Martin say to Boyd, you got to hurry up and get out of the underground well. He will be back soon. So Martin sometimes uses the pronouns they. That's how they get you. But he, in one instance, he does say he will be back soon. I think that is the man in the yellow suit. I'm thinking that the man in the yellow suit, as of right now, has Martin, the worms, and the music box monster imprisoned. So the man in the yellow suit was probably sitting back, doing stuff in the background to manipulate Tabitha, manipulate Jade to do things that he wants them to do if the man in the yellow suit is the big bad, if it is the entity of Fromville. And in being the big bad and manipulating behind the scenes, including maybe controlling Jasper, controlling the colonists that came to Jade with the skull and drinking the blood, the man in the yellow suit may be okay with what Tabitha and Jade are doing because it's a part of his plan. However, one thing that was not a part of his plan was the music box monster escaping.
To hurt us, wants to make us suffer. It got so excited when it touched your arm.
How do I stop this? Sarah? How do I stop this?
Julie.
All right, Julie. Now, on first viewing, I thought that she was going to say Julie, Marielle, and Randall and something else, but she's saying Julie, as in there's something more to Julie than simply being imprisoned there.
Julie. Oh, Julie and the others. They're dying.
Okay. So Sarah says Julie and the others. So the others would mean that Marielle and Randall are not that important, not as important as Julie is. Based off this dialogue, I know you're going to be saying, oh, it's a stretch, it's a yoga stretch, but that's what I'm getting from this dialogue is that Julie is more important than the other ones, which is why the other ones weren't really named, and Sarah harped more on Julie. For all we know, the reason why the music box monster picked Julie was because it wanted to eliminate Julie to keep Julie from helping the man in the yellow suit.
They're dying. And when they die, it'll be too late. You need to make it stop.
Okay, make what stop?
The music. You have to make the music stop.
Okay, how do I?
Now think about it. Sarah is hearing evil voices. We could believe that Abby's a good person or a good maybe angel or energy or whatever, but Abby went to Boyd and was trying to talk Boyd out of destroying the music box monster. So whoever, which we know that's considered a bad thing because Boyd wanted to save Julie, Randall, and Marielle. So whoever is talking to Sarah right now are bad. They are evil. So this evil voice is telling Sarah to make the music stop to free Julie, Randall, and Marielle. I'm thinking that the music box monster who was imprisoned with the worm, with Martin, actually is working against the man in the yellow suit because I believe the man in the yellow suit had the music box monster imprisoned.
Stop something I can't see.
I don't know.
Okay. Oh, all right.
You'll have to climb.
Okay, so that was the end part of season 2. Now we're going to season 2, episode 1. And this is the interaction between Boyd and Martin.
What? Hey, what?
You have to hurry. He'll be back soon.
He'll be back soon. And I think the he that will be back soon, unless we get more information season 4, is the man in the yellow suit. He's keeping them imprisoned there. And I think that the man in the yellow suit, or it, was feeding off of Martin, feeding off of maybe even the worms, feeding off the music box monster.
Okay. Where are we?
We had a deal. You said you would kill me.
Jesus. Who did this to you?
Are you from the town?
So Boyd asks him, who did this to you? Martin doesn't want to answer. Okay? Martin is on some madness.
So basically, the folks or whoever it was in charge, they pulled some shenanigans.
Right. So Martin doesn't want to answer that, but he asks if Boyd is from the town. So this suggests to me that there has to be other areas where humans are for Martin to ask, are you from the town? Because where else could you be from if not the town?
What the town? Yeah.
I always thought the town was the worst part. And then I went through the tree. Did you go through the tree?
Yeah.
Okay, so we know Martin is not Christopher because he would have said his name was Christopher. However, I think that Martin may have been the Christopher before Christopher, who Christopher comes from, and that who we're looking at is just like the energy form of this Martin person. Because when Martin gives Boyd the worms, Martin turns to dust and disappears because the worms are keeping him alive. So either Martin is maybe that's who Christopher comes from, or Martin is just like another character who went through the tree to try to escape like Dale did, but ended up here. There really is no way to really know with the information that we currently have, but the fact that Martin turned to dust, I think is reasonable to believe, or at least he disappeared, is reasonable to believe that maybe this is the energy from somebody, and maybe Martin's actual physical form may be in the root cellar, in that back room when Elgin walked in and saw someone in the comforter or on the rug or whatever in the corner. That may have been Martin's actual body. I mean, it would make sense because that corpse had a beard like Martin, and even though the clothes were different, somehow your clothes may clone with you when you come in here. But just the fact that Julie, Marielle, and Randall were here, and they were physically here and also physically outside in the town, I think it's reasonable to believe that maybe the body that was the corpse in the root cellar could have been Martin. And the reason why that corpse was deceased was because Boyd got the worms and Martin turned to dust or just simply died when the worms left his body, and the worms were keeping Martin alive.
The tree.
You go one place, come out another. Sometimes you get stuck. Sometimes you get trapped. Now that's when they get you. You have a kind face.
Right, so Boyd asks again, who are you talking to? Martin's not answering. So if Martin went back there in the room where Fatima was when she gave birth, if Martin went there, he would have been trapped. He couldn't have went down there by opening up the basement door because it opened up magically after Fatima gave birth, and Fatima tried to pull on it and she couldn't. And then the door was blocked by that armoire. So you can't open the door from the inside because of the armoire. You can't get out from underneath where the latch was. So it could be reasonable that could have been Martin. And while he was there and he was trapped, that's when they get you, or maybe the man in the yellow suit. Or maybe the kimono woman.
What's your name?
Boyd.
I'm Martin.
How long you been here, Martin?
Oh, it's been a long time.
I'm sorry.
I used to try to count the days, but I couldn't bear to count the years. It's been so long since I've seen kindness. That's why you have to go before they come back.
I'm not leaving without you.
Boyd.
You a Marine?
Semper Fi.
Leave no man behind. You help me, I help you. That's the way it goes, got it?
Boy, if you want to help me, then just kill me.
Yeah, if Boyd would have unalived Martin at that point, that would have stopped a lot of stuff, but it would have prevented Julie from being able to chapter walk, which that would have benefited the music box monster and the worms, but not the man in the yellow suit. I think Martin was wanting to simply just die to prevent the music box monster from being let out, and maybe even to prevent the man in the yellow suit doing stuff because of future Julie. Because when future Julie, or when Julie went to the lair herself, Martin recognized her. So maybe Martin was chapter walking as well.
Please. There's gotta be something.
Even if you get me free, then what? I don't think I can make it to town.
Yeah, then I'll carry you. Huh? Once we get back to town, we got people, a doctor. She can help you, Nate. Look, you see this? I found these in the forest. They protect us, keep us safe. They won't be able to hurt you there.
You think those things that come out of the forest at night did this?
So Martin saw the talisman stone and realized that the talisman stone was for the creatures, which is why he's saying, or he's going to say, that the nightmares in the forest are worse than the monsters. The creatures are the tip of the spear.
They're just the tip of the spear.
Hey, how about we change the subject, huh? Hey, Martin, where you from?
A small town, Millbrook.
Where? Millbrook, huh?
Wasting time. Oh, God. They're coming. You don't have time, Boyd. There's darkness in the forest. Nightmares again, even begin to imagine. Things we were never meant to see. Things that... You have to get out before the music stops.
Yeah, I think the music box somewhat is like a dog whistle for monsters and creatures. So the music box itself is just more like a dog whistle, and what follows the music box are like evil creatures and other things, and that's the reason why Boyd's able to touch it and it's no problem. And while he's in the lair, he doesn't see anything because all these evil entities may be invisible. And you might not be able to see them unless you're attuned to like supernatural stuff. So like with Sarah in the previous part that I played, she was able to hear the music box monster and all of the different voices and evil creatures and stuff. She's able to hear it, but she's never been able to see it that we know of. And Julie was able to hear the scream, but not able to see them. We really don't have any actual characters that have seen stuff while being awake that are monstrous. I mean, yeah, you do have Elgin that sees the kimono creature or kimono woman, and then Fatima is able to see her as well. But besides those two later on, there really isn't an actual character that can just see stuff that nobody else can see. So I think that this music box is like a dog whistle, and it kind of has all of the monsters and creatures who are probably invisible. It calls them to that location, and that's the reason why Martin's like, you don't have a lot of time, because Martin knows that once the music stops playing, here comes all this nightmare stuff, which we see everyone else experience after Boyd frees the music box monster and it goes to town with him. So the music box must be tied to the worms. And that's how the music box was able to get to town. So Boyd just simply leaving the lair wasn't enough. It's that he had the worms inside of him, and the worms and the music box are like one and the same. So So I'm thinking that so we already know that the music box monster was a prisoner inside of the lair with the underground mine shaft that Boyd was in that he climbed out of. Martin was in town, went into a faraway tree, and became a prisoner inside of the lair. One theory is that he was given the worms by the man in the yellow suit. My blood is your blood now, which the man in the yellow suit may have said to Martin and gave Martin the worms. And giving Martin the worms was a way to imprison the music box monster or music box. The worms fed on or feed on medical conditions and disruptions to normal bodily functions. I believe that's how Boyd was able to get over the Parkinson's. And he probably, and Boyd's blood being purified when given to Elgin helped Elgin to heal very quickly. And so Boyd backs out of the deal to kill Martin. So Martin gave Boyd the worms, kind of like out of spite, and decided that he was going to die in his own terms. In that, instead of Martin dying and taking the worms with him, he's going to pass the worms on to Boyd, pass that curse on. And it's like, well, hey, you didn't help me, I'm not going to help you. And then Martin turns to dust, or at least disappears. And so I got another theory with the man in the yellow suit. I'll let the scene play out, and then we'll tackle that.
Almost there. Martin, what's going? What's going on, Martin?
Yeah, the music box is making everything evil activate and like kind of come to that area, including the worms that are inside of Martin, and that's the reason why he's feeling in pain like that, because the worms are in overtime because of the music box monster's music.
Okay. Martin, okay. Come here, okay. Okay, all right. Okay, hey, Martin, come on. It's a...
We're out of time! Let go, Martin! My blood is your blood now.
Yeah, so the same way that Fatima was pregnant with the Smiley, we'll say, parasite, I think the worms were doing the same thing to Martin, in that they were making Martin maybe turn evil. And when Martin had clawed Boyd, that may have been the worms doing that, and Martin may have just given the worms to Boyd out of spite, because Martin didn't want to live any longer, and Boyd had reneged on the deal.
Martin. The fuck?
All right, so I think that after Boyd leaves the lair with the torch, I believe that the man in the yellow suit went to the lair and saw Martin and the music box monster were gone. He chapter walked and saw what happened and saw Julie, because Julie had given Boyd the rope and then left. So I believe the man in the yellow suit chapter walked, went to the lair, saw what had happened, and was like, someone else can chapter walk, and freed Boyd. So the worms were merged together with the music box monster. Still, my theory. When Boyd gave the worms to Smiley, all three combined and became the cicadas, which fed on Julie, Randall, and Marielle and killed them. So the music box monster needed all three for energy. And I think Julie was like the main target, whereas Randall and Marielle, they may have some type of powers or gifts or something, and that may be the reason why they were chosen as well. But then again, Randall could have been at the wrong place at at the wrong time, and Marielle could have just been chosen randomly as well. But I think Julie was selected because she's had this chapter walking ability inside of her the whole time. It was just activated with the cicadas.
Julie!
Dad!
I'm over here! Over here!
Okay, so Julie called out to Jim. Now Jim is at the RV. Okay, Jim is at the RV. The RV is considered a terrain feature at this point because it's stationary. So because Julie is yelling for her dad, I think that she was hoping that he was alive, but didn't know exactly where he was, because in future Julie's timeline, Jim was found deceased in the forest, but he may have been found like in the middle of the woods. So when she's calling out for him, it's not, it's because she doesn't really know exactly where he is when she goes back in time.
Dad, you have to run. You need to get to town right now. What
happened to you?
And I think she's saying you have to get back to town, not because the man in the yellow suit can't go to town, but because he died in the woods. So if he goes to town, he won't be in the woods to die.
You need to listen to me. It's not safe. I think this is when it happens.
Okay.
I think this is when it happens. So Julie so based off this dialogue from Julie and seeing her actions in the scene of season 3, episode 10, Julie doesn't know when Jim died or where Jim died. Because she says, I think this is where it happens. And when she came into the scene, she's screaming for Jim. She didn't even know where he was. So she doesn't know that he died today. And she didn't know where he actually died. Probably doesn't even know how he died. So in future Julie's timeline, Jim did not die at the RV. He died somewhere else, sometime else.
Slow down, boy.
No, listen to me. I need to change the story, Dad, please.
That was a hell of a song.
All right, so the man in the yellow suit, he appears, and I think that the man in the yellow suit, the same way that Julie can like hear voices that were in the lair and how Sarah can hear voices on Demon Radio, I think the man in the yellow suit could hear Jade playing and could hear Tabitha doing the whole Ankui thing with the Ankui kid. But the reason why the man in the yellow suit did not appear at the tree and did not appear to Jim and Tabitha while they were talking away from the tree is because the man in the yellow suit didn't know where they were. So we don't know how Jim originally died, but I'm thinking that based off of what we have come up with in this video, that the man in the yellow suit originally may have not even killed Jim the first time. And if he did, it wasn't here at the RV. My head's in the way. It wasn't even here at the RV. So Jim may have died by a creature. Because think about it. Let's say if Julie would have never shown up, and if Julie, so in my opinion, in my theory, if Julie never would have shown up, the man in yellow would have never shown up. Jim would have just stayed out there sulking all night. He would have stayed out there sulking. It would have turned dark, and probably a creature would have taken Jim out. Or because I don't think he has a talisman stone on him, maybe he would have went into the RV or something. But I'm willing to bet that Jim would have stayed out there sulking till dark. A creature would have taken out Jim, and that'd have been the end of Jim. And I think that's how he died originally. That's why Julie was telling him to get back to town, get back to where the talisman stones are protecting the houses and he should be safe.
That Jade sure can play.
Get out of here.
No,
Run,
no, no,
run,
no.
run. This didn't have to happen, you know.
Back up.
The knowledge comes with a cost.
Set.
Now, okay, in this part, the man in the yellow suit is progressing forward. We don't know if he's going after Jim or if Julie's the target. Because Jim, he's got the stick up to be protective. He's not even asking any questions. He's just immediately wanting to protect Julie. So I'm thinking that the man in the yellow suit only engaged Jim because Jim got in between the man in the yellow suit and Julie.
Back the fuck up!
Please, Dad, please.
I did try to warn you.
He did try to warn him. Okay? He did try to warn him. So if you kind of, and this may be a stretch or a yoga stretch, but the way this positioning is, the man in the yellow suit was right here. Okay, he was right here. He came from up here, he went down here. He stopped here, was talking, and then he progressed forward. The man in the yellow suit is on the side of Jim. He's on the side of Jim as if he was going to get past Jim and go towards Julie. Because anyone knows that if you're going to attack someone, you're going to be straight in front of them and you're going to square up. Because the man in the yellow suit was like right here when he came down. And he was talking to Jim about Jade sure can play and all that. But the positioning of the man in the yellow suit on the side of Jim, in my opinion, means that he really was going towards Julie. And I'm willing to bet, not willing to bet, but I think season 4, when we see this chapter walk from Julie's point of view, after Jim gets eliminated, the man in the yellow suit will probably go after Julie and she's going to run away or chapter walk back to the future. But then again, we're going to have to see Julie in this future form to see the scene, and we probably won't even see that till like season 5 or maybe the end of season 4 at least. But yeah, just the fact that the man in the yellow suit is on the side of Jim. Now you could say, well, maybe he's trying to catch this branch, but as strong as the man in the yellow suit is, if he was going after Jim, he would have squared up, he would have caught it and been in front of Jim, not on the side. Because when someone's like has like a bat or a stick and they're coming at you to swing, you're either going to duck, step back to dodge, or you're going to rush them and you're going to be positioned right in front of them to get control over the part of the bat or stick that their hands are at. The man in the yellow suit, he has his hand on top right here. For him to have his hand on top and to block it means that he could take damage, but he has his hand on top because he was not in a position to actually engage Jim and get the stick at the base. Which is why I believe the man in the yellow suit is on the side right there, because he was really going after Julie.
Get off him! Get off him!
Your wife shouldn't have dug that hole, Jim.
All right, your wife shouldn't have dug that hole. So the man in the yellow suit, he could have shown himself when he told Jim to not dig that hole, which I think is really Christopher, the actor that plays Christopher. I did a video on that. I digress. So the man in the yellow suit could have shown himself then, but I don't think he knew where Jim was when Jim was talking to him on the radio, and maybe the man in the yellow suit was using the RV's radio. Next, the man in the yellow suit could have engaged Tabitha in the cave, but did not. Because I don't think that the man in the yellow suit can actually necessarily just see all. I think he actually has to hear it and then go to it. Kind of like how Julie had to go to the lair in order to go inside the lair, give Boyd the rope, talk to Martin, or at least have Martin talk to her, and then see herself, Marielle, and Randall on the wall, chained up, and then walk and go into the caves. So I'm thinking that the reason why the man in the yellow suit was able to go to this exact point, I think he was able to go to this exact point because he was able to sense Julie while she was chapter walking, and that's what brought the man in the yellow suit to this position up here. I believe the man in the yellow suit, he's chapter walking from the future, just like Julie's chapter walking from the future. And even though he could hear stuff, he followed her. I think that he followed her to this point, and that's why Jim died this way. Because again, future Julie was telling Jim, get back to town where it's safe as far as being behind the protection of talisman stones inside of a home, as opposed to telling him that the man in the yellow suit's coming after you or whatever, because Julie didn't have any information. All she probably knows is that when Jim was discovered in her future timeline, Jim was looking like he was unalived by a creature, but didn't know, but it was like somewhere in the forest, not right by the RV. Now, some people may say, well, okay, Julie can go back in time and save Jim. And the answer is no, because from Jim's point of view, Jim is seeing this chapter walking from his point of view, and we're viewing it. So now that the episode has ended, there is no coming back for Jim. It's a permanent death. He may come back as like a force ghost, like Father Kotri or like Abby. I could see him coming back like that. But saving his life is a no-go because Julie already tried, and if she tries again, Jim is just going to die another way, a different way. It's going to happen inevitably. So there is no saving Jim. But I think that Julie will do stuff such as planting the vegetables out there where the colony is, or not colony, but where the settlement is. Maybe she's the one that created the humanoid statues that everyone sees. Maybe she's the one that put the talisman stones in the grotto in the first place. I think that everything that we've seen in the show that's been unexplained, it's all Julie, and that the chapter walking is basically just Deus Ex Machina. All right, just Deus Ex Machina, and the man in the yellow suit, he was able to sense Julie while Julie was chapter walking, and that's how he was able to be at that exact position. And it kind of creates a paradox because, well, not really a paradox, but we don't know how Jim originally died. We just know that Julie says, I think this is when it happens. Didn't even know where Jim was, which is right by the RV. I'm pretty sure the RV is going to be there until the end of the series. So yeah, Jim more than likely died somewhere in the forest by the creatures or something else. And that's why Julie was telling him to go back to town. Not that the man in the yellow suit can't go into town. And I think that the man in the yellow suit, he knew to look for Julie because he saw Julie chapter walking and release his prisoners, which was the worms, Martin, the music box monster, and maybe anything else that was in there that we couldn't see. So a bootstrap paradox occurs when an action, object, information, or person is sent back in time and creates an infinite loop where the person or object has no discernible origin. So we're never going to know how Jim originally died. We just know that in this episode, this is how we've seen him die during this chapter walk. And this is a permanent death, y'all. Jim is gone. I know y'all going to be like, nah, she can travel back in time a million times. That's why they call it chapter walking, because it's time travel that's nerfed. Time travel that's nerfed. All right. So what do you think? Let me know in the comment section your thoughts. Thumbs up the video. share to your social media, subscribe, click the notification bell. Thanks for watching. Go forth, do great things, and I'm out. Peace.